So you notice in the trailer they have the Hulk in
Yeah.
Wakanda, and then in the movie he's not in Wakanda.
Now Bruce is in the Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah,
But going to the Thor, this is something else we talked about after the movie. So I saw the movie on Friday night. I got home around midnight, and I think Chief and I talked until like 1 or 2 in the morning on Messenger because I was on this high for this movie. What I really enjoyed was we've always heard about the other realms in the Thor movies. You know, Midgard, Asgard, Nidavellir, Hell, all those. I like that they're not always these different realms are not always like an Earth. You know, like
yeah,
Nidavellir Nidavellir is in space. It's this gigantic dwarven like forge at like the heart of a star.
yeah.
And
It's that's kind of cool. Like I said, it's like they're kind of writing their own Marvel universe right now. It's not really. And I don't understand that people get so upset when it's not exactly like. But I mean, like I said, they're writing. It's a whole new take on it.
yeah,
This is supposed to be new and fresh. So I mean, you take that with it. But I mean, I kind of miss I do kind of miss the magic element of Asgard because they've explained it all this science and everything. I kind of miss that the mystical magic element. But I guess you get that with Doctor Strange.
yeah. But I like Peter Dinklage is in the movie, and in contrast to anything else you see Peter Dinklage in, Peter Dinklage is actually the tallest character in Infinity War.
I like that his costume kind of looked like the way Kirby would have drawn an Asgardian
Dwarf.
dwarf.
Yeah.
It's this kind of huge, stocky thing.
What I really enjoyed was the character, like so, and I guess I have to, even though I liked the movie, I have to compare this to Justice League in a little bit of a way. Is the character progressions in Avengers Infinity War felt very organic, where in Justice League sometimes they really didn't, you know, like character growth. But in Infinity War, like you have teenage Groot, you have the rebellious teenage Groot who's playing asteroids like the entire movie.
Yeah,
But when it was time to step up, teenage Groot, you saw the character development of teenage Groot because Groot ends up giving up his arm for it to become the handle of Stormbreaker. So
yeah.
Stormbreaker is Asgardian and it's part of Groot. It's
It's
part
so weird that they've dropped all these weird little hints at Beta Ray Bill
yeah.
throughout the MCU, and they have yet to introduce Beta Ray Bill.
His I mean he's on the side of the Grandmaster's tower in Ragnarok, and Stormbreaker is Beta Ray Bill's hammer.
Yeah, in Beta Ray Bill is Stormbreaker, and then also in the promotional stuff for Guardians, they had that little 8-bit graphics thing, and one of the characters up on the wall, like it was like a side scroller video
Yeah,
game, like one of the characters was Beta Ray Bill, and people were saying, "Is that a hint? You know, is he going to be in one of the Guardians movies? Is Beta Ray Bill going to show up?" And
it would be nice if he showed up in the next if they do Thor 4. It'd be nice if he showed up and Thor gave him Stormbreaker.
yeah, that might maybe that's the plot. Like I said, Hemsworth said he's down for a
Yeah.
fourth one, and he just plans to play Thor till he dies, I guess.
What I liked is Thor still had that comedic. He was kind of the funny Thor we got in Ragnarok.
I mean, he always just was kind of a boastful kind of a dick, really. I mean, in some of the comic books,
Yeah,
and
but
that's kind of how he is in
it
the
it
movie.
what the Thor that we got in Ragnarok and this one, it's almost kind of like an amalgam of Thor and Hercules, almost in a way.
Yeah, I love the Peter Quill standoff thing was kind of funny when he's like he's talking like me. You're copying me.
I
He's like really the people copying him seems to bother him because he says it to Captain America too. I see you're copying my beard.
I
Cap's
like
got a
that
beard.
when they show up in Wakanda, he's like, "These are my friends," and it's Groot and Rock. He's like, "These are my friends." That's one of my
Calls him a
favorite.
rabbit.
That's David's favorite part. David has told everybody my favorite part is when Thor goes, "Fire up the engines, Rabbit."
Yeah.
I liked it when Rocket is fighting alongside Bucky, and he looks at Bucky and he's like, "How much for the gun?" And Bucky's like, "You're not getting my gun." He's like, "Well, how much for the arm?" And Bucky walks away, and Rocket just goes, "I'm gonna get that arm." And it explains one of the, I think I talked about it a few weeks ago. Is I talked about how the toys of Thor for Infinity War had both eyes. Now it makes sense after seeing the movie why they have both eyes, because he got a robotic eye from Rocket.
Yeah, which we also have now discovered, with this being like what the third or fourth reference to wanting people's prosthetic limbs.
Yeah.
But he has Rocket has an obsession with prosthetic body parts.
Yeah, because he stole the eye. And he's like, you might want to wash that first, before you put it. Oh, you're just gonna put it in there. Okay. All right. But Bucky picking up Rocket by the scruff of his neck and just spinning around, and they're both firing. Black Panther and his troops fighting was fantastic. Black Panther's such a badass in this universe.
Which tomorrow, well, it'll have been yesterday by the time you hear this, but yesterday Black Panther came out on digital download. I'm not sure if it's both DVD and digital, but digital at least.
I know digital. I have to pick it up after I get paid. Yeah, I gotta pick that up. I also like the part where they're like, they actually mentioned that Hawkeye and Ant-Man weren't there, and they're like, wait
yeah,
a minute,
I mean that's some it had decent continuity with the other movies, I think, but there's probably there's still some questions I have about in the movie universe, but yeah, I did like little touches like that, mentioning that Hawkeye and Ant-Man aren't around, but they got to be in the next one.
Wait a minute, they're gonna need
everybody.
We got a Spider-Man and we have an Ant-Man.
Yeah.
The
whole Ruffalo is really, really funny as Banner too throughout the movie.
Well, I mean, the Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out, so and they have actually in the trailers for Ant-Man and Wasp, they actually have in there what was Ant-Man and Wasp doing during Infinity War. This is what they were doing, so it actually kind of it shows that there was something else going on, And to play in that Hawkeye, he has a family and all that. That was actually really good because that ties back into, Age of Ultron.
Well, it's kind of cool in a way because like when you read a book, when you're reading the comic, and they make a reference to something in a panel, and then down in the corner you got the little dialogue box that says "C issue whatever" of Cap. It's kind of like that with movies.
Yeah. So and probably one of the biggest things that they played that on is when Thanos goes to get the Soul Stone on this planet. There's a creature there that shows up, and at first, when I first saw it, I thought it was Death, because knowing the comic books, and knowing Thanos, seeing a floating, ragged, hooded creature, it just makes sense to you as a comic book reader. That's Death. Because Thanos has such a relationship with Death. But then it's Red Skull.
Yeah.
Which box see Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yeah,
that
exactly. Explains
what happened to Red Skull after when he touched the Tesseract in First Avenger.
Yeah. That's probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. With him and Gamora when they meet up with Red Skull and he has to make the sacrifice. I thought that to me was a very Hickman-esque scene in the movie. It seemed a lot like something Hickman would write, especially with the weird, I don't know, just being on that weird planet with the Red Skull and just the weird old Marvel reference of having the Red Skull there for some reason. I thought that was pretty cool. A very comic booky Hickman-esque scene in the movie.
All of it was just, I mean, the way that they used the stones, the way that Thanos used the stones, and that the stones were not just, hey, I got a stone, and now I'm going to go get another stone. He used the stones. They showed the power of the stones.
Yeah, really, when he gets them all, he really shows them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's, the battles with on Titan were pretty awesome with Doctor Strange, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Just all around, probably like Rob Liefeld said it. Like what made me really want to see it when it came out was Rob Liefeld. Like the day it came out, said it was the most comic book superhero battles he'd ever seen put to film. And I was like, well, shit, I got to see that. I got to see that now before it gets ruined.
Yeah.
So I had to go and see it, and he wasn't lying. I mean, it probably is the most comic book Marvel has done so far.
I mean that. Like you said, Peter Quill is jumping on the discs made by Doctor Strange. while Iron Man is using every gadget he's got. Spider-Man's swinging through, shooting webs and catching people who are getting knocked out. It really is everything. And we, even though a few episodes ago we gave our disdain for Dave Bautista for his actions at C2E2, as a man, yes, we have issues with him. But as Drax, he's
really funny. Yeah, he's funny. he's funny as Drax. I mean,
it's the man we have an issue with.
The why is Gamora thing was funny.
My favorite is, how long have you been there? 4 hours. I have mastered the art of standing so still I become invisible. And then he just slowly starts bringing the chip to his mouth, like, we can see you moving. No, you can't. I'm invisible. We can literally see you eating the chip. No. Nobody can see me. I'm invisible. And then Mantis just comes up. Hello, Drax. And he's just like, Gah! And he walks away. Mantis, I am loving Mantis. I mean, I liked her in Volume 2, but this movie really cements Mantis as a funny ass character for the Guardians.
It's funny when they're trying to act cool in front of Thor. Well, no, is it when they meet? That's when they meet Iron Man. When they're on Titan, I think, and they're trying to act cool, like they're just cool and collected. They're just big dorks.
I love Mantis is like they're talking about the gravity on Titan, and Mantis is just like jumping up and down in the background.
Yeah, it very much reminds me of like Starfire from Teen Titans Go, her character.
Yeah, very, very funny. I mean, it's just the Star-Lord, showing his jealousy. I love it. Like, you're from Earth, I'm from Missouri. That's on Earth, asshole. Or like my father. I had to. I found my father killed my mother, and then I found out who my father was, and I had to kill my father. So technically, that was all fantastic. I mean, it was really, really well done. And it never felt like that many characters bogged the movie down. It felt like
they gave it enough time. It was a 2-hour, 40-minute movie, so.
But they gave each character enough time. The way that the scenes transitioned really did feel like a comic book. It's like, okay, here's what these people are doing on Earth. And then we smooth transition to here's Thor, Rocket, and Groot in space. I mean, it really did feel like a comic book that it just, kind of like Infinity, where they would show what the heroes were doing against Thanos on Earth, and then what the Avengers were doing in space against the Builders.
Yeah.
It just really flowed very, very organically. The music.
That's why I thought there was because they used the Black Council or the Black Order in this. It felt like a lot of it seemed like Hickman kind of shit. A lot of it was a darker movie. It had a Empire Strikes Back type ending.
Yeah.
Where everything was just like, what the fuck just happened? Like at the end of that movie, it's like, holy shit. Unbelievable. And so, man, it was so epic. It's like, how are they going to possibly top that with the fourth one? And the only answer is to bring in the Netflix characters and bring in like the street vigilantes.
Well, we know Ant-Man and Wasp will be in the next one because we know that. We know Captain Marvel is going to be in the next one due to the after credit scene.
That's another thing with Nick. And we see Nick Fury again for the first time in a while.
Yep. Who disintegrates? He's part of the.
And Maria Hill, who disintegrates too.
The half of the universe that did not get to live from Thanos.
Yeah.
But not before he was able to call Captain Marvel, which her movie is going to be coming out after Ant-Man and Wasp, which is going to be her origin movie set in the 90s. Marvel will be in that movie. We are going to see Marvel.
Yeah, and you know who I felt the worst for at the end of it was Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He's the one that I think you feel the worst for. I actually think that ending right there where he practically loses everybody around him, and especially Spider-Man, who he's kind of taken as almost like a surrogate son.
And Spider-Man had a David Tennant doctor moment. His was really like, I don't want to go. It was really a David Tennant doctor moment.
Yeah, and arguably the most heartbreaking moment in the movie was Tony Stark with Spider-Man's ashes in his hands.
Yeah.
But, Tony Stark is kind of really mind-fucked at the end of that.
And you brought up an interesting point, that even though in the movie we saw Doctor Strange disintegrate, he may
Yeah.
not have disintegrated because he's Doctor
Yeah.
Strange and can bend reality.
My theory is that he can bend reality without the Infinity